Hi friends, it's Mr. Kurt Nielsen in the parking lot of what used to be the Villa Chartier in the Lanai in San Mateo, California. And that's going to be the inspiration for this episode. Do you have 15 minutes? Good, let's have some fun. Yeah!
Oh, if you're feeling down as dirt, come on and have some fun with Kurt. We'll paint a bit and horse around. I'll pick your spirits off of the ground.
Just have it where it's like
I'm
basically pointed
right now, and you tell me
Okay, you
when
got it?
Good. Right there, I got it.
Okay friends, it's 15 minutes on the timer. I'm gonna make me some art in the parking lot of the Villa Chartier and the Lanai. You're like, well, what does this even mean? Well, for me, it means a lot. This is where I learned about tiki, and this is where I learned about fine dining. So right here in this parking lot, a lot of things happened that are gone now. You're like, well, geez, what is this? What does any of this mean to the modern world we're living in? Well, it doesn't mean anything nowadays. But now I'm kind of reliving some of the memories that I had with my mom, learning how to drink, learning how to eat, learning how to be sophisticated. And none of this really has any bearing on the world nowadays. You know, Lanai was like a real special place, and there was a point in time when no one cared about tiki. Can you believe it, hipsters? There was a point in time when nobody cared about tiki. This wonderful place was sitting right here, and people just let it fall into ruins, and then they shut it down in the early 80s. No, excuse me, the late 80s. I think it was 87 that they shut it down. And why? Because, well, they wanted progress. They were like, oh, we got to move ahead. Well, what was progress for them? Well, there's a Walgreens here, there's a salon, there's a spa, there was a Kinko's here for a while. Ooh boy, we really moved forward, didn't we? And what did we do in the process? We got rid of a wonderful restaurant, and a hotel too. Like the hotel was turned into a senior care center. And the restaurant Villa Chartier, which was like, you know, continental style, that was turned into, well, more parking. So is that progress? That's how we used to think back then. It's really kind of depressing. But Lanai was for people living in San Mateo County, like their version of Trader Vic's. As a matter of fact, Trader Vic lived out in this neck of the woods. And Trader Vic used to come here when he wasn't going to Trader Vic's and lording over as he did, as he should. What does any of this mean right now? None of this really makes sense to me either. It's just kind of coming out of my bones. There's cars driving by. There's people looking at me, wondering what I'm doing. Do I care? Not really. Yeah, but these are wonderful memories, and I'm glad that we stopped our so-called progress at a certain point in time and saved some places. Now, Trader Vic's used to exist in San Francisco. I helped gut that place in San Francisco. Isn't that sad? So I witnessed the decline of that. And I also, now it's time to go over with the paint. I also, you know, watched Trader Vic's over in Emeryville kind of struggle. There was a time when people really didn't want to go. You're like, what's going on here? There was a time that people just didn't want to go to tiki, and like these tiki places just kind of hung on by a thread. Like for all of you who now go and you celebrate it, you know, there was a point in time when all of these things were seen as eyesores, and all people wanted to do was get rid of them. Well, most of them are gone, so those at the time who were in power got their way. But now we're trying to like bring back elements of the past, and that's what I do when I'm here. I'm just trying to relive kind of old glories. You're like, what is Kurt doing right now? That's not a solid object. No, I'm just setting down a background color. I'm getting kind of a flavor. I used to walk into the Lanai, and it was like a sensory thing, you know. You would be in this town of San Mateo, and you would walk through the doors, and all of a sudden you were in paradise, you know. And you didn't even need liquor to make you feel that way. All you needed to do was step inside the door, and it was the art, it was the vibe, it was the people inside, you know. It was a beautiful thing. And even though I couldn't drink alcohol at the time that I was going there, I knew it was a gateway to like magic. You know, it took me years as I got older to really figure that out, but I'm glad I got to experience it and know what all of that really means. And I get to talk to old timers who used to go there too, which is kind of cool. I'm going to go to a place later today that actually serves a Lanai drink. Can you believe that? There's people out here that still do that kind of stuff. I need more water. I got a dip. I'm kind of working in a slapdash way today. You'll have to forgive me, folks. Oh, that looks okay. Yeah. See this? I'm still making art. Look how informal I am. Well, Tiki was informal too. Look what it almost has a leopard feel to it, doesn't it? Yeah, see? No rules here, folks. And look at the tray that I'm using. Look at how beat up that is, and look at like most of the colors are gone. I have palettes that I'm using where there's nothing in there at all, and I still go. Oh, look at that. Oh, Kurt, what is he doing? Is Kurt drunk? Well, maybe, but no, but I'm going for a vibe. See, it's kind of like a leopard thing, and you see, I was going for almost like a leaf feel here. And almost like a tribal spear thing, which is racist to say, but you know what? It was accurate to the era. I'm sorry, folks. I'm not racist. But, if you want to represent things that were back then, they did have spears and things of that nature. You can't deny that it existed. You can't. It really was there. So if you really want to represent Tiki, sometimes it's the good and the bad. Fact of the matter is, like, women who worked at Tiki bars were seen as ornamental. It was like a men's club. We've taken a concept from years ago and we've updated it to what we have today. But back then, they had a menu for women. They had a menu for men. Women drank certain drinks, and they were seen as lighter. And more in line with what a woman would have and was expected to be, and the men had the big strong drinks, so that's kind of how everything worked out. Luckily we're more educated now, except me. Look at how I'm painting. See, everybody thinks everything back then was real formal and structured. It wasn't. A lot of it was slapdash, like what I'm going to do right now. You'll be like, Kurt, what are you doing? I'm just throwing water down there. I'm going for texture. Here. I'm also getting water on my friend's car. He's holding my camera for me. Thank you, Ed. Look at this. Look at that. I'm adding texture. Now this is all stuff that I'm going to build on. This is like background stuff, but you see layers of texture going on here, and you got little red, little purple, little yellow, little green. Yeah. See how formal this has to be, folks? Not formal at all. Okay, so I'm going to pick some more colors. I'll get a little orange in there. What the hell, I'll put that on this side. And use the limitations of the brush. See, I got a brush right now that has very little water in it, but I'm going for it. It's what it is, And then you got like a little bit at the tail end there, and you got a little echo of orange. Wow, see how exciting that is? It's all fun. Tiki's fun, and I think that's why I gravitated towards it as a kid, because it's play, it's simplicity, and it's escape. We all have times in our lives when we need escape. Tiki existed in a lot of cultures, a lot of major cities where people were really stressed out. They needed that escape. So for a long time, that was everyone's haven. Oh, look at this. He's building more color. See, look at that, see? Look how technical I am. But I'm going to keep building on this. This is going to be a slow work in progress, because I want that depth of the light when you walked into the Lanai. I want that depth of feel and texture when you're sitting there and you're having a cocktail, and it's not just one obvious right in your face kind of thing. Look at this, I'm adding more dark color. But you want the nuance, you want the vibe. I'm adding some black here, and these are just all about the layers. And feel it out, folks. There are no right or wrong answers when you do watercolor. There really should be no right or wrong answer when you do art. It's all about what makes you happy in that moment. And if you don't like it when you're done, you know what? Put it in a box or burn it. I can't tell you how many times I've done that. But look with me with my karate chop method, huh? Yeah. Nothing technical about that. I didn't learn that in art school. Look at my hand here. Okay, I don't want to waste any paint. I'll put that here. See that? And you're like, gosh, he's a genius. Where did this come from? You know where it came from? Just boredom. Yeah. But really, that's it. So I like the black, and I'm going to be adding a little more here, and I'm going to let that dry on there a bit, and that's going to create like another little layer here. And I'll slap some water on top of that, and it's building and just feeling things out, letting my hand roll over there, rub that in, create some textures. Boy, oh boy. Yeah, they don't teach you that in art school, do they? Okay, now you're like, oh, that black looks a little dominant. I'm like, yeah, it does look a little dominant. So you just do this, la la la, get some water, slap it on top. Oh no, Kurt's ruined his picture. Have I? Okay, not really. Look at that. It's something new now. I'm using my whole hand. Now look at that. Wow, Kurt's created something magical. I'm gonna let that dry. I'm gonna build on top of that. See, it just makes things up, kids. It's more fun. I think, and we've talked about this before, I think I was always frustrated with animation because it was so rigid, so specific. Do this, do that. Oh, that's off model. In your own world, there don't have to be rules, you know, just make it what you want it to be. This is still a little wet here, so the next layer that I put on here, things are gonna start bleeding a little bit. But you know what? That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. So the big thing that I want to encourage with all of you is just have the courage to be yourself. Be yourself. Don't be afraid, because art is not what they tell you in school. Art is not what they tell you in books. Art is what your heart tells you it should be, you know? And you should always have the courage to be who you are and to produce what you want to produce. I'm going to look at the time here because, okay, we got about 4 minutes left. But you can see there are layers going on here. And it's the layers that are making this picture kind of something different. And that's important to me, you know? Like tiki, you have different layers of light and dark. Yeah, see, and there's some splotches there. That was an accident, but a happy accident. You know what you can do if you really like my stuff, which you probably don't at this point? You can sponsor me on Patreon. I keep forgetting to do that. You can go to patreon.com/Mr. Kurt Nielsen, and you can support me if you wish to. If you don't want to, that's okay too. These videos are still going to be here on YouTube. But have fun, play. I really want to encourage you just to be who you are, be yourself. There's a train going by. It's all adding to the mix. I'm going to add some white there. Might as well. Oh, I dropped the brush. Doesn't matter. I'll pick it up. No one's here to get it anyway. All right. Anyway, you can see this is all a lot of fun. But you will see the finished product on Instagram. Instagram.com/Mr. Kurt Nielsen to see the final product. And hopefully you'll like this. This is fun for me. But I kind of feel like the vibe of the Lanai. I really do. Timer's about to go off. I got about 2 minutes left. I'm still waiting for sections of this to dry. So, yeah, like I said, you'll get to see the final product pretty soon. I'll put a little red in there. That'll look okay. But yeah, go with like the dryness of the brush, and you can see like different effects come out. See that? Like it just has enough just to adhere to the brush, and it creates that little bit of flavor there. You're just looking for a splash. You're not looking for a big dominant statement. But I'm going to go over this a little bit later on with some layers, and then you'll see some different textures building. But this is the structure of what I do. You see, it doesn't have to be that complicated, people. I'm not a genius. I'm just talking about art, that's all. But everybody thinks that, you know, if you're an artist, you have the secrets to everything in life. You don't. Half the time you just make up your philosophy and people think, oh man, he's amazing. I ain't beans. I ain't beans. Anyway, guys, timer's about to go off. Patreon.com/Mr. Kurt Nielsen. Look at me on Instagram. Instagram.com/Mr. Kurt Nielsen. And enjoy tiki. Go to the tiki places nearby you. And support the local businesses so they don't go out of business. I wish people would have done that here in the late 80s. We wouldn't be having this video right now if that was the case, but hey, whatever. There you go. That's the episode. Thanks, guys. Bye.